For many years, even since the first Mario Kart game released in 1992, there has been a group of players that have been battling each other in hopes of trying to get world records and become the best. Every game has a unique community, as well as unique mechanics. Mario Kart DS is one of these games. We're most famously known for a mini-turbo system that only the best can exploit to get world records. Taking this a step further, one track in particular is no exception to this. It may seem boring at first, but I'm about to show you just how this community has torn apart this track. This is the world record history of Mario Kart DS's Donut Plains 1. Mario Kart DS released in 2005. At this point, the Mario Kart community was thriving. We just had Mario Kart Double Dash, Michael Jongerius was the Mario Kart 64 champion, and the Mario Kart message board was the main place for interaction. The newest Nintendo console at this point was the Nintendo DS. At E3 of 2004, it was announced we were getting a new Mario Kart game for the console. The other handheld Mario Kart at this point being Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance. It wouldn't be until November of 2005 when the game released in North America. As soon as the game released, players already in the community flocked to buy a DS, and immediately, as if it were his job, one guy created the Mario Kart DS players page. This is Sean Sullivan. Sean Sullivan was a Mario Kart 64 player from 2004. A week before the release of MKDS, he decided to create the players page. He was active for the first few months and got a few world records, even on Rainbow Road. He doesn't play anymore, but his contributions to Mario Kart DS are still going strong today. A players page is a site created and modified by members of the community. Each game has one. If you have a Mario Kart game, access to the internet, and the right mindset, you can submit times to these pages and you will be on the site. For clarification, these are all done in the time trials mode of the game, and it didn't take long for a new game-breaking glitch to be discovered. Now with the players page up and players submitting times, people started to get world records. One of the pioneers of the game took over. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Freed. Michael Freed is a jack-of-all-trades kind of karter. He has held at least one world record in 6 different Mario Kart games. If you're wondering why this is possible, Michael Freed usually is one of the first guys to grind a game when it first comes out, or when a new shortcut is discovered. They're easy records. It didn't take long for Michael Freed to get used to Mario Kart DS. Right out of the gate, he got straight to work. At one point, he achieved 64 out of 64 possible world records in the game. According to MarioKartWorldRecords.com, he had gotten over 650 world records in his DS career. But remember that game-breaking glitch I mentioned earlier? Yeah, over in Japan, players got better and better. They found a mechanic where you could mini-turbo after getting a perfect start. And if you keep mini-turboing while keeping top speed, you could go over any off-road in the game, but only if you didn't lose top speed for a single frame. You could skip entire tracks, like Sky Garden, which got completely broken. They called it PRB, which is an acronym, meaning Prolonged Rocketed Boost. But what was the Mario Kart DS community to do with this new mechanic called Prolonged Rocketed Boost? Well, we made 2 separate charts, PRB and non-PRB. In the PRB chart, you could do any form shortcuts like the ones on Rainbow Road and Wario Stadium. You could go over any off-road, and there were no rules. However, non-PRB was a bit different. Non-PRB does allow PRB on the beginnings of some tracks, like Donut Plains 1, but PRB had to be gone before a certain spot on the track. This made it fair to the people who couldn't PRB, and also gave a little advantage to the players that could. It made it fair to beginners, and experienced players had a small advantage. For simplicity's sake, I'm only going to be focusing on the non-PRB category, so without further ado, let's get into it. This is the non-PRB world record history of Donut Plains 1. Donut Plains 1 is a retro track in Mario Kart DS. Retro tracks are tracks from prior Mario Kart games that are decided to be remade into the new one. Donut Plains 1 is from the Super Nintendo's Super Mario Kart and was brought back into Mario Kart DS in the Banana Cup. In chronological order, Donut Plains 1 is the second track ever in the series, only behind Mario Circuit 1, which is also in DS. Donut Plains 1 starts off as normal with a lazy turn that brings you to a bridge. This is where the difference in skill comes into play. A skilled player who can snake, meaning mini turbo very fast and efficiently, will stay close to the edge of the bridge and release PRB before the grass. The Mario Kart DS rules for what is and is not allowed for PRB can get kinda confusing. The join section of the player's page will tell you what is legal for PRB. Donut Plains 1 says, PRB racing may not be used to cut through the grass after the bridge. If PRB is still in effect, you can't release an MT off-road until PRB is worn off. A world record pace run will release a mini turbo just before the grass. Keep PRB while trying to release a right mini turbo as fast as PRB wears off. A couple mini turbos later and you'll be out of the grass. These next few mini turbos are important so you can set up a right mini turbo into a U-turn. You want to release it about right here and do 2 hops, trying to stay as close to the wall as possible. Exiting the U-turn, you'll want to do a right mini turbo followed by a left. This is so you can be as close to the off-road to the left as possible. 1 mini turbo later and another turn is coming up. Now is where you'll charge and release a mini turbo around here and angle the kart so your exit from the turn will be smooth. Now do a right mini turbo to stick to the right side of the track. The next mini turbo is probably the most important of the entire run, the entry into the last turn. The last turn is very long. You may think it will be better to stay to the road as normal. This is not the case, however. The time saved by strategically going in the gray spot is substantial to just the normal road. Just before the last turn is a small nook. Charge a right mini turbo, releasing it with the perfect timing can cut a small corner out of the turn. When you land, do a right MT. Most top players don't understand that you can actually go into the grass a little bit at full speed. For whatever reason, there doesn't seem to be a slowdown in the small part of the grass here. So a few mini turbos here are even faster. At the end of the turn, you'll do more right mini turbos and hop to do them quicker. Now you'll finally be finished with lap 1. All this only happens in 18 seconds, but this is how complex a world record can be though, and Donut Plains 1 is just a short track in the game. On laps 2 and 3, the only changes are that you don't go in the grass after the finish line, and after the bridge, a mushroom is used on either lap to skip the grass. The other lap will have mini turbos through the grass. In 2005, the very first known record of Donut Plains 1 was a time of 1 minute, 9 seconds, 800 milliseconds, set on November 16th of 2005. By, you guessed it, Michael Freed. Over 1 month later, Freed and another guy named Bart S. had lowered the time to a 59.892, held by Freed. In the first month of Mario Kart DS, Donut Plains 1 had been lowered by almost 10 seconds. Over the following 15 years, the record will only be lowered by about 5 seconds. Mario Kart is very unique. Unlike games like Super Mario 64, where the 120-star world record is under 1 hour and 40 minutes, Mario Kart is a little different. The longest world record time in the series is in Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road, with a near 6-minute long marathon around the track 3 times.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! I got Rainbow Road 3-lap world record, yes!
The shorter a world record is, the less optimizations are available without the discoveries of shortcuts or new mechanics. Donut Plains 1 is under a minute, and with no shortcuts ever found on the track, it was all about skill and timing. In mid-2006, Freed would get his last DP1 world record with a time of 57.374. The record had traded hands a few times from guys like Tsubasa, Zigetto, and G Danzy, most only holding the record for a day or so. However, Freed would be beaten by Sasha Brauninger. Sasha Brauninger was a German player from 2005.
Hello, my name is Sascha Brauninger.
From then to 2007, he achieved over 300 world records in the game. This was his world record on Donut Plains 1, with a time of 57.331. It was safe to say Sasha was really good at Donut Plains 1. Certainly his record would stand, and it did, for one day, the age of TB1. TB1, also known as Thomas Bolton, is a Swiss runner from the early days of MKDS. He is regarded as one of the best to ever play and is certainly one of the most respected. He and Sasha had an amazing rivalry for a year. Each switched back and forth as non-PRB champion a few times in 2006. Here is where they met on Donut Plains 1. TB1 got a time of 57.175, but just like their rivalry, their world records would switch as well, because the very next day, Sasha beat TB1 back with a time of 57.111. TB1 still wasn't finished, as he got the first 56 on June 27th, 2006. Again, Sasha would beat this run, but this time he would have it for almost 2 years. During this time period, Sasha improved his record 4 times, getting the first 55 in the process. The rise of YouTube in the mid to late 2000s could only mean a good thing for the community, and it was. Now instead of having to download a video and open a video player on your PC, you just click a link and watch. This is the first known video footage of a Donut Plains 1 world record. On March 11th of 2007, Sasha got a 55.699. Here it is. This record alone would stand for 472 days. But guess who beat him and got the last laugh? TB1. He got a 55.632. This record would stand for over 2 years and was the last world record TB1 got on Donut Plains 1. However, on October 10, 2010, the record was achieved by none other than German runner Timur Ahmad. Timur is another old school MKDS player. He snagged the record from TB1 with a time of 55.624, an improvement of 0.08 of a second. This record would stand for the remainder of 2010, but on July 16th of 2011, a Japanese runner would take the world record. This is Rupa. He was the non-PRB champion 4 different times and is currently ranked 3rd worldwide on non-PRB. He is one of the few Japanese players to have a full timesheet and is extremely talented. However, he doesn't play anymore. His Donut Plains 1 record was a .013 improvement over Timur. One thing to note about Rupa's run was that he used a dry bomber, a tank that Drybones uses. Drybones is used because he weighs the least off-road. You may have noticed that most runners use a normal go-kart-like vehicle. Rupa, however, got the world record with the dry bomber. He used his kart over the standard Drybones kart because the dry bomber has better handling, speed, and lighter weight. The standard Drybones kart has 2 mushrooms though. However, the tight maneuvers and small microstrats combined with faster mini turbos meant that the dry bomber outperformed the standard Drybones kart, even with 1 mushroom. Timur didn't feel like losing his record and beat Rupa a week later with a run that didn't have a video. 2 days later, it was Rupa again with a 55.566. It was an okay run. A few things the run didn't do too well was the grass MTs after the bridge, going wide on the U-turn and not going into the grass on the last turns. The exit of the last turn was a bit wide too. For an early dry bomber run back in the day, it's good. Timur wasn't going to let the standard Drybones kart die though, as he beat Rupa the very next day. This is the last standard Drybones record. Lap 1 was good. Lap 2 was a different story. He cut the U-turn really close, almost hitting the wall. The closer the better, but this was god-awfully close. He seemed to have a small slowdown there too. Lap 3 seems good, but the last turn could have been cut tighter. For the final standard Drybones world record, it's a pass. 12 days later, Rupa would again retake the record from Timur. This record was set on August 7th, 2011, and would stand for almost 6 years. It was okay, but surprising it lasted so long. Lap 1, Rupa does the same thing as before. Awkward mini turbos after the bridge. His U-turns were a bit wide. His final turns could have been a bit tighter too. For a record that lasted almost 6 years, it was alright, but surprising it lasted that long. The next record was set on June 13th, 2017 by a veteran player that had stuck with the game since 2006, and his name is Matt Utter.
Oh!
Matt Utter is a Scotsman and a cool guy. In December of 2006, he joined the players page and remains active to this day. He currently has the Baby Park 5-lap, Mario Circuit 1 flat, and Figure 8 Circuit 3-lap records. On June 13th, 2017, he was playing Donut Plains 1 and got a 55.450. His run was similar to Rupa's in the sense that the MTs after the bridge were a bit awkward. Exiting the U-turn was also wide, and the last turn could have been tighter as well. Still okay for a run in 2017. A month later though, Rupa came back. Yes, even after 6 years since he set his last world record, Rupa still had it, improving the world record to a 55.437. This replay had a ghost. A ghost is a replay of a personal record that Mario Kart players race against to try and improve from their mistakes. It's basically a guide. The normal replay system for Mario Kart DS looks like this. You can't really see what strategies are being used, and very inconvenient for trying to determine whether a run has PRB or not. But there is an action replay code that changes the replay system of Mario Kart DS. An action replay code is a code that can modify the game, and the live ghost code is what we use. You can only get this code if you have an action replay or R4 cartridge. Rupa's new record looked pretty bad going into lap 3. Lap 3 is where he had a better ending, which helped him a lot. This record lasted for about a year when it was again beaten by Matt Utter. This time it wasn't a small cut. It was a huge time save of .160 over Rupa. He was getting better U-turns, cutting them tighter than before. His final turns were a bit tighter. However, he had a slight slowdown on the grass after the bridge in lap 3 due to an early shroom. This run was clean and good. There was room for improvement though. This was the last record Matt Utter got on Donut Plains 1, and it lasted for over 2 years, until an up-and-coming young fellow from America took the record. His name is Max Itzkowitz. Max joined the players page in 2017 and immediately rose to the ranks, where he is currently 8th worldwide. On June 9th, 2020, Max took the world record from Utter with a 55.266. Let's take a look at the run. Lap 1 U-turn was a bit wide. The MT release at this turn could have also been improved. Lap 1 was alright. Lap 2 was great. The entry into the grass was amazing. The U-turn was also tighter. Great MT release. Tight final turn and good overall. Lap 3 was a bad one. However, the U-turn saved a lot of time over his ghost. Good MT release. Final turn was horrible and the finish was too. Bad pace killer, but still world record. It was good, but could have been much better. Max would get another world record 2 months later. Improving upon mistakes like his ending, his MT release on lap 2 was an eyesore. His U-turns were tighter and final turn great. He didn't stop there though, as 2 days later he improved his record again to a 55.178. Lap 1 was an okay U-turn followed by a great MT release. His final turn on lap 1 was trash. Lap 2 saved the run with a great MT release compared to his ghost. Going into lap 3 he was ahead by less than a frame. An okay U-turn with a bad MT release, but the ending was good enough to get a world record. This is where the next chapter on DP1 gets interesting. Max would have the world record for about a month, but then one day, someone posted a world record on the time submission thread. The interesting bit was it didn't come from anyone in the top 10. It came from the 27th ranked player, who was from a country that hadn't seen its last Mario Kart DS world record in the last 12 years. This is Canadian runner Cole Edwards, Dr. Mario, me. I joined the players page in mid-2019 and only played non-PRB. I still don't play PRB. Over a year later, I was grinding hard at Donut Plains 1 and got a 55.167. Lap 1 was good. Lap 2 could have been tighter to the bridge. U-turn was a bit slow and the ending could have been better. Lap 3 was great. The biggest time save coming from the grass after the bridge. The U-turn was also great. MT release was a bit wide. Ending was okay. Good enough for my first ever world record. It could have been better. I know the last MT release was the biggest time loss, and I was gonna fix it. The only problem was Max beat me. 1 week later, Max had gone back to DP1 to clean up some mistakes. His lap 1 U-turn was great, but the MT release was very awful. Final turn was okay. Lap 2 was an average lap with an okay ending. Lap 3 had a few hops that could have been reduced on the bridge. U-turn, MT release, and final turn were all good, and the 55.150 was the new world record for 2 days. Yes folks, I beat Max again with the 55.130. This run was good with an amazing lap 1, but after lap 3 I knew it could have been better. That's why I got another world record later the same day. And it was a very interesting ghost. This is my 55.125. It starts off as normal with an average lap 1. After the bridge on lap 2 is the most noticeable time loss of the run, an early shroom. Did you notice how fast my ghost caught up to me? It's because my mushroom speed ran out before the end of the grass, causing the cart to slow down on the off-road. Keep this in mind for later. The overall run was good, however I wasn't finished. Another week later was when I got a 55.108. The runs were starting to look great now, so optimizations were going to be hard to come by. This record would stand for 41 days, since I decided to take a break. I left unsatisfied though, because I knew there was unfinished business. Remember when I said to keep my .125 ghosts in mind for later? You see, when I got that record, I saved the game file to my computer and it remained. I wasn't getting any luck against the .108 ghost, so I tried the .125 ghost, and on November 21st, 2020, this happened. A 55.091. The old ghost was better because lap 1 was great, so coming up with a better pace after lap 1 meant a good chance for a PR. Lap 2 shroom was way better than before, no slowdown at the end of the grass. Lap 3 U-turn was the only sort of slowdown. I wasn't done there though, as one day later, 55.058. This run was a big improvement over the .091. Lap 1 was a little behind. Lap 2 made up time again from the shroom spot and was ahead a little going into lap 3. Lap 3 had a good U-turn, empty release, and ending with a .067 improvement over my ghost. We were getting closer. 2 days later came another record. A cool thing to add about this record is I got it in school. Lap 1 was the best of the 3, being ahead by .051. Laps 2 and 3 were alright, each gaining small pace over my ghost, and I had a world record of 55.053. 3 days later, I was not going to let the 54 get away, as I got a new world record of 55.027. This run was great, it had no mistakes. The only possible time saves would come from a combination of immense skill, micro improvements, luck, and not becoming nervous. 4 days later. Laps 2 and 3 were amazing. A better lap 1 was the only thing that could have got the 54. I guess the next thing to do now was to get the 54. Nope. I tied the 55.005 twice. For a 54 to happen, everything needs to be clutch. The last second barrier was broken in 2006 by Sasha. I was only 1 year old. Back then, using different carts could get the world record. Now only a small imperfection would cost the run. 14 years later, on December 10th, 2020, I booted up my game to grind Donut Plains 1. I got a 54.998, and that's where the record stands today. Since 2005, Mario Kart DS has seen amazing players, of which are still active. This was just one story of the journey to the current world record. With new players and an ever-growing community, the future looks bright for MKDS. Who's going to get the next record on Donut Plains 1? It could be me, but it could be you. Thanks for watching.